Botshabelo, my father's birthplace. This has been a thriving community where people lived harmoniously and grew together as people, where a man's wealth was measured by his crown. Botshabelo, a melting pot of cultures, where a social cultural association of inhabitants has become a self-sustaining community. People built infrastructure which was adequate to enhance their living standards. Botshabelo embodies one of South Africa's historical sites within the rights of a heritage site. Old buildings still stand tall, dating back to early 1800s. One of the most important sites that carries the historical events of wars of the 1800s. A worthy site that boasts a church precinct which was built in 1885, cemeteries, agricultural lands, Fort Merensky, and a host of other buildings which were used to sustain the community. There was diverse cultures of all the people of South Africa. Botshabelo is ensconced 11 kilometers north of Middelburg in Mpumalanga province, leading towards Loskop Dam near Growlersdal. My great-grandfather, Piet Tage, built a thriving and sustainable farm which many within the village dubbed as Eden. The man had gifted hands. Everything he planted turned green. He owned an orchard, and his ruins still stands and clearly visible. A good-hearted man who always was ready to lend a helping hand. When he was finally removed from his house, government poisoned his crops with the aim to kill all of his plants. To their dismay, one narki tree survived, which we still harvest today. People had already inhabited Botshabelo when the mission station started. Botshabelo belongs to the people who deem it to be their ancestral land. Mhludzi River was central to both human and livestock survival. Under Alexander Merensky, who led missionaries of the Berlin Mission Society, this presented a European colonial oppressor's mission which was largely seen as giving shelter and refuge to those fleeing the wars around 1863. Merensky, credited for building Botshabelo, did not find barren land. Around 1820s, people had already settled. What he did was build a church and a fort to shelter when wars erupted. Hence, Botshabelo, a place of refuge. During this period, names referred and used were that of rivers, not cities, towns, or villages. The stone fortification was strong enough to secure people. Botshabelo became one of the first bread basket of South Africa. The mission station boasted a number of fruit trees such as pomegranates, peaches, figs, and many others. The soil was more fertile and gave life to many plants. Bridges were built, connecting inner roads to houses. More work led to the other. With every inhabitant involved, all hands on deck, Botshabelo grew rapidly as the best-run mission station which was self-sufficient, which schools, well-kept gardens, well-cultivated farms, shop, hostels, wagon shop, a church, brickyard, mill, surgery, bakery, and a fort. Following the success, more schools were added. A German dedicated school was built in 1873 while the children of the baptized members of the Lutheran Church was erected. What became significant was in 1906 when a seminary school for training teachers was established. Botshabelo was leading in providing the best education to learners. Many good teachers across South Africa were trained at Botshabelo. Unfortunately, good things come to an end. After the promulgation of the Bantu Education Act of 1953, government closed all mission and church-led schools and to put them under their control. Botshabelo Teacher Training College was not spared. Agreements were signed in 1956 to lease Botshabelo Institution to South African government to run the schools. Under the law, the Group Areas Act of 1950, people were uprooted and forcefully removed from their places of birth and taken to Mutetema, while others are scattered all over the country. The draconian laws obliterated people's heritage, culture, and dignity. Pity that more emphasis was given to buildings than the people who were forcefully removed. Sadly, the Berlin Mission could do less to influence the government of the day about resettling black people to Mutetema. Theirs was merely that their history of the mission would be retained and kept alive. Disregard to people's houses being destroyed did not in any way cross their minds. It was to be done with no compensation or any recourse. Many lost properties, lives and livelihoods. The irony was that the Berlin Mission was quick to support resettlement of blacks from Botshabelo to Mutetema. Black Christians put their loyalties to the Berlin Mission, and there was nothing they could do. After all, they are black, and they must be taken to black townships. My great-grandfather was the last to move, and when he died, he was laid to rest in Botshabelo. Botshabelo then began a new life under apartheid South Africa. Many laws were introduced, and of which were of segregatory nature. Botshabelo was then sold to Middelburg Municipality, which is now known as Stiefstede Local Municipality in 1970, which in turn worked with the then Transvaal Provincial Administration and other foundations to turn Botshabelo into an open-air museum for tourism attraction. Botshabelo, a place of refuge.